All right, and here we are on page 5, the last page for section 2.3. In the Practice Plus section, continued in our assignment here. Sorry, that should be a T apostrophe D. Yikes. Should say continued. So I need to fix my little typo here. Okay. A little housekeeping there. You're going to get a chance to translate. So you can expect that when you see this translating here, we're in the Practice Plus. Oh, I'm going to practice translating on what I've already been practicing here. What I've been practicing is equations that have parentheses and like terms or variables on both sides. So I'm going to expect that I'm going to translate to an equation that has parentheses, or it has like terms, or it has variables on both sides of the equal sign. Okay, so it's always good when you hit problems that start to look more complicated, remind yourself what section you're in and what you've been doing, and it'll help you realize, oh, we're just going to do a little bit of practice translating to that and then solve. So the instructions say to use the given info to write an equation. They continue to describe a little bit more in the instructions, but the basic idea is you're going to use X, write an equation with what they give you, and then you're going to solve it. So there's two answers that I can expect in the back of the book here. One of them is to translate to an equation, and the other one is our solution, or our solved value for that variable. Okay. They recommend using X. Hey, if your favorite letter is Q right now, or J, or M, feel free. Okay, go ahead and just solve that with whatever letter you want to do. If it makes it more fun for you, makes it more comfortable, whatever, I'm all for that. Let's do our usual, and that is to read this problem out loud if you can. That sometimes helps. Take a nice cleansing breath, breathe deeply there, and then read it again. Then you're going to identify your goal, which we did. We're going to translate this equation, come up with a solution. But your next piece is to come up with some keywords, start translating into an order that makes sense. Make sure you do a look back, make sure what you've created still matches up with the verbal description at the beginning. All right, here we go. When 30 is subtracted from 7/8 of a number, the result is equal to 1/2 of the number. What's the number? Okay, deep cleansing breath. Let's read that again. When 30 is subtracted from 7/8 of a number, the result is equal to 1/2 of the number. What is the number? So they describe again the goal. What's the number? We're going to find, oh, let's be a little rebellious here. Instead of X, let's use Q. That just sounds fun today. Let's find out what Q equals. So we're going to use Q. Take that. Okay. Now let's look at some of the key information they've given us here. Because I know it's an equation, there's got to be something that represents the equal sign. When 30 is subtracted from, okay, I've got subtracted from, and I know that order matters, so I'm going to have to figure out which one comes first there. 7/8 of a number. The result is equal to, oh, I love it, I love it, I love it. Here it is. The result is equal to, there's my equal sign right there. So here's my left side of the equation at the top of this paragraph, and then after this is the second part. Equals 1/2 of the number. Okay, so now I've got a little phrase that talks about 1/2 of the number. I also have one up here that talks about 7/8 of a number, and I've got 30 subtracted from that. So again, order matters. Hopefully we've done enough of these that you're starting to get comfortable when they see when something is subtracted from something else, that order reverses when you write it out. It's going to be this second item minus the first item. Okay, so we're going to go, because it's this first thing subtracted from this. If you have to, think of small numbers. Like if I say 3 subtracted from 5, I should expect to get an answer of 2. How am I going to get that 2? Am I going to write 3 minus 5 or 5 minus 3? No, I have to write the 5 minus 3. So it's going to be this item minus the second item. So this comes first, then minus the 3. 5 minus 3 will give me what I'm expecting to hear from that description. So first minus second. So here's our first piece, 7/8 of a number. Here's our second piece, the 30. So 7/8 of a number. We've used of a lot to help identify like the sum of something and something, or the difference of something and something, or the quotient of something and something. But there's not an operation listed here. It's just 7/8 of a number. When of stands all by itself, it actually represents multiplication. Okay, so it's 7/8 times that number x. And then later when it says 1/2 of the number, that's going to be 1/2 times multiply that number, the x. Okay, so here's what it looks like. 30 is subtracted from 7/8, so we're going to have 30 subtracted from 7/8 of a number. Oops, I said x, and I want to use q. I want to be a little rebellious today. Okay, so there's our first one. When 30 is subtracted from 7/8 of a number, of q. Okay, this is of a number. Okay, there's your multiplied by the number. The result is equal to, now here's our second part, 1/2 of the number. 1/2 of that number. There's the of the number right there, multiplying. Okay. Now I still have to get this in order. 30 subtracted from 7/8 q. That's really going to be 7/8 q minus 30 equals the 1/2 q. Okay. Now for some of you, you might end up writing that a little differently. The q could actually go on the top of each of those fractions. Q over 2, 7q over 8 means this exact same thing. We're going to leave this just as is for now. There are other ways to kind of set this up to begin with. I'm happy to go over those in class. But let's now look at what we've got. Here's our translated equation. So I'm good as is to look that up in the back of the book and see how I'm doing on this problem. You don't want to go through all the solving if you've set it up wrong to begin with. So pause here, check the back of the book. We're good, okay? Then, because there's an equal sign and because there's fractions, I'm going to choose to multiply through by the LCD. So I'm going to use the LCD to eliminate those fractions. And in this case, the LCD is going to be equal to 8. 2 and 8 both going to 8. We just have to remember to multiply every term. Each and every term by the LCD, even the ones that aren't fractions. Okay, so that means I'm going to multiply 7/8 by 8, 7/8 q by 8. I'm going to multiply the 30 by 8, the minus 30, and I'm going to multiply the 1/2 q by 8. So I've got 7/8 q, I've got the minus 30, I've got the 1, everything gets multiplied by 8. And those fractions are going to be eliminated. So 8 goes into 8 once, we're just left with the 7q. 8 times a negative 30 is going to be a minus, or a negative 240. Equals 8 times 1/2, half of 8 is going to be 4, you've got 4q. From there, we then, are there any parentheses? No. Do we need to combine any like terms on either side? No, and no. We do have to pick a side though. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. If I move the minus 4q and minus 4q, then I also have to move the 240 over to the other side because I'll just end up with 0. So I'm going to help myself out here and move everything to the right side. You don't have to do it that way. I've done enough of these, I can kind of look ahead and anticipate what will help me the best. So I subtract 7q. The reason why I subtract is because I look in front of the piece with the variable. Okay, there's nothing there. That's a plus. So we do the opposite, which is minus. So what that leaves behind is a negative 240 is equal to a negative 3q. What's happening to q? Well, it's being multiplied by negative 3. How do we undo that? The opposite, we divide both sides by negative 3. So I've got a negative 240 equals a negative 3q. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. I get q is equal to a positive 80 when 30 is subtracted from 7/8 of a number. So if I take 7/8 of 80 and then subtract 30, will I get 1/2 of the number? So I need to check this out here. It makes sense. My translation made sense. When 30 is subtracted from 7/8 of a number, the result is equal to 1/2 of that number. So now we check it back. The equation matches the story problem, so now let's check it back in our originally translated equation here. So 7/8 of q minus 30, will that equal 1/2 of q? So I'm going to try 80 in both of those spots. And 7/8 of 80, 8 goes into 80 10 times, so 70 minus 30. Half of 80 is 40. Does 70 minus 30 equals 40? Yep, it checks. That's a true statement. So my solution here, I'm going to put it up a little bit so I don't run off the screen. I got an answer of positive 80. So there it is. Set notation, answer of 80. Okay. So the translations are starting to get a little bit more involved, but it's the same thing we've been doing, and you can expect it to match the section that we're in. So hopefully that will give you enough to be confident as you go through those. And practice makes you better. So lots and lots of practice on those if you're struggling. And of course, bring those questions to class. Let's move to the bottom of page 5 and look at an application. See you there.